Greetings to everyone that is here to experience this I New Man experience. I'm Vermont, here with I New Nation.
And it's me. I go by Brother Zach. Yeah. It's like this and like that. Yeah. Say what it do? Yeah. I said we talking about our new. Oh, come on, Lamar, get in there.
He didn't tell me you had bars. He didn't tell me you
Yeah,
had
let's get it
bars.
on.
Greetings to all of those. First we would like to give thanks and show honorable mention to our Chief Jagna, Chief Yuya, H. Hassan Anu. And we're here to just talk about the I New Man experience. So I'll just start things off with who was I before I knew, right? So like let's say like let's just say that's the question. Um, who was I before I knew? Vermont was a short-winded person, very short-winded, very seclusive, um, and how would I would say I had no vision in a sense. Those are a couple characteristics I could use to describe myself before coming into I knew because at that time I was just a doer, not really no, not really planning things out, but more so of a consistent doer of things. And so when I look back, I just I just now I'm just you become grateful because you become more organized in a way in which that demands a higher accountability, for yourself. So brother Zach, how would you say what was like you would describe yourself prior to being an idol?
Prior to I knew, I was like, I would say like my man Neo in the Matrix before he met Morpheus. And he felt, he had his little wheeling and dealing, nickel and the diamond, he was doing something, but he wasn't really eating though. Like he wasn't eating. It was like, you ain't really putting a dent in this system, man. You really got to get down under. And everybody would always call me for advice. They'd be like, man, I need some help with this or that. And I mean, I thought I was giving them something good, nutritional value. But then at some point it ran out and I was like, I'm out of game. I need some help. Like, what do I do with this? I don't know what to do with this situation. I don't know what to do with this situation. And then along came Morpheus. And he said, what you want? You want the red? You want the blue? I can show you some things, but you got to be able to go for the ride. That's the main thing is go for the ride and not be, well, hold on, that's not what I was taught. Well, hold on, it needs to look like this. Well, hold on, I ain't no, nah, just go for the ride. And then when you go for the ride, you start, you eat coming from all of these different systems and backgrounds, and you see people, they got their little cutlery. They ain't eating though. They got their little fine china. They ain't eating though. They got their little paper plates with the little aluminum foil wrapped around. They ain't eating though. And then you come to our new. And then you see they having food fights over here. You like, yeah, let's get it. Let's get it. And you got the boss up. And that's one thing that when you and I knew, when you start studying and you start really just eating and consuming the information on a day in and day out basis, you just move different. You walk different. And you can just look around when people try to come with these little flim flams and these rickety racks. And you just like, man, I will snatch your spirit out your shirt. Don't come over here with that garbage, man. But that's just how we get down over here.
Yeah, man. One thing I will say, man, coming into our new man, it makes it so easy to spot a fraud. It's like because it's like when you're around genuine truth at all times. I think I was speaking this to a friend of mine. I was like, yo, when you're around the spirit of truth for so long, it just becomes a part of you. So like that spirit of truth resides within you. When you see someone or something not carrying that spirit, it's automatic. Like, yo, hey, what are you doing? Huh? What you over here doing? And sometimes you want to call a fraud out, but you understand like yo, they have their position and that they're there for a reason. And those who are likened to them, that's because they have that energy within them as well. So when you're around that truth that is it doesn't waver either, right? So just having that structure with the brothers and manhood is like it doesn't waver because not only are you gonna be told what's right, it's there for you to read too. So like when I say what's right, what I mean what's right is right within the cultural context of Anu. So like a lot of times you may think what you was doing something right prior, but then when you learn the Anu way, then your right or your righteousness or your right behavior has to now change to something new. So now it's like within Anu, the closer you get to what you think your goal is, then when you reread it and you reassess yourself, like it pushes it a little further. So you never get comfortable because it's like, dang, I thought I was right there. And then you're like, nah, you can do more though. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then you have those experiences when Chief is like, yo, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? And then like you think you good, and it's like, nah, more, more. Like, nah.
You know, and that's one thing that you just said, and willfully, I strongly hope people just heard, and I'm using hope for a reason. That they just listen to you is ultimately you judge the spirit by the spirit, right? And I know that's a hurdle for some to get over. Is hold on, judge not who should be judged first. You know, don't you can't judge me, and they have this churchical mindset that they come in with. When you come into Anu, you will be judged. All right. You're going to be judged on what you're doing. You're going to be judged on your character, and it's going to be judged as what is aligned with the culture that is established here at Anu. Now, you can either boss up and you either going to get down or you can get from around. But but once you start to let the information totally flush you out, that's when one starts to build discernment. And discernment is just one's ability to see the truth. And when you can see the truth, not only that it resides within yourself, you're able to see it within others. So then you start to see, hold on, man, this person is full of garbage. And even when you said like you read the text and yeah, it'll start to like it'll hit you. It's how you grab somebody without touching them. It'll hit you. But even at the same time, there was even when reading and listening to Chief, I had to go on a retreat, and I had to look this man in his eyes. I had to see, when you look a man in his eyes, you can see if that dog is in him, or you can see if they just talking all of that BS. Ain't nobody want to hear all of that BS. And when you see him, the first thing he did, and I always tell this to everybody, he took his glasses off when I walked up to him. Like, yeah, I'm gonna look you in your eyes, and you gonna look me in my eyes, and I'm gonna see what's standing in front of me. And once you get that, okay. It's a warrior. It's not just no talk. It's not just no writing the paper down where all of these little cornballs is running up to the podium because they can talk and they got this good game, and all of these females start to run behind him and oh yeah, he's saying all the right things, and these little half-baked punks that's just be oh yeah, he's really a solid. No, there's no warrior energy in this person. He's not talking. All that talk is just talk. That's all it is. You ain't living what he's talking about. When you come over here, you see people actually living what they're doing. And if you're not living what you're doing, you're going to get got. You're going to get got. So, I mean, that's what you said was hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, man. I remember my first experience, even when I was just talking to Chief, coming from the place I was coming from, not like it was bad or anything. I was just like ready. I was like, yo, this is it. These brothers on what I'm on. Like, cause I remember watching the videos and, I think it was like that year, like everybody was giving all the instructions on the bug out bags. But what really hit home was, dang, I don't know the name of the video, but he dropped a video and he said something to this nature. He was like, yo, for all of y'all in that church, y'all need to walk up to him and look him square in the eyes and be like, yo, I need you to teach me how to farm. I need you to teach me how to fight. I need to be able to defend myself. And if you can't do that, then you need to seriously think about where you at and whether you need to let these people be leading you. And so with that, it's like he's not only someone who can just like most people like will view him as like a teacher, like or someone who's giving games, someone who's being able to offer this. And it's like he had to have an experience to do these things as well because how you gonna tell me I need to fight and you can't fight? How you gonna tell me I need to farm and you don't know how to farm? How you gonna teach me to do something that you can't do? Because a lot of times what you find is people are advising you of things that they have little to no experience of only because like or they quote unquote know it's the right thing to do. But can you teach me? Like it's a right thing to be able to farm, right? You would say like, let's say that's something we can say that's a good thing. But so someone would advise you of doing it, but like, yo, but I need you to show me how to do it. I need you to help me do it. If you can't do that, then you just need to shut up, right? You basically just need to shut up, right? Because what you're essentially doing is you're putting me down a hole or sending me on a trail that you can't guide me on that path. So, but you want me to achieve it just based on your comments. So that's something that I really always admired about the situation, because what happens is that you learn like, oh, yo, I can't just be talking about what I can do, because eventually I'm gonna be called disservice. Like, so then I knew like, yo, all that yapping like you just said, oh yeah, that's gonna get you called to do that eventually. And then once you like, because it's like it should be like the spot of fraud, right? Like the spot of fraud, like. Look, what you said you could do, and I'm pretty sure Chief take these little notes about us, right? Yo, he said he could do that. All right, cool. All right, it's gonna be a day when I'm asking this, like, so so it's like when you come in, I knew you have to be mindful of how far you reach with your mouth. Um, because what happens is when you reach with your mouth, you're always gonna be caught the duty by what you say out your mouth. Now, if you come in, you say, "My baby, I don't know nothing," but then you will be filled with what it is that you need to know to move forward in a stronger way. So that's why I knew is your mouth and what you say is something very calculated that you need to understand and reserve yourself sometimes in order to not put yourself in a hole, because we have a lot of people who talk about it, but they definitely don't be about it.
And that's one of the things that I think people like. There's that saying that "do as I say, but not as I do." Nah, man, you gonna if you gonna open up your mouth and you gonna say something, then you gonna back that up. Like you just ain't gonna throw no hollow words. I think, yeah, I look at it even as in a sports sense, playing basketball or playing football, and you got all of these people who just be running their mouth. And, yeah, I dropped 20, and I did this and I did that, and yada yada yada. Nah, when we get on that court, we going to the post where men play, and we're gonna see if you about what you say you about. So just like in Anu, if you come in and you talking about I can do this and I can do that and da 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 da, we're gonna take you to the post, and we're gonna see if you gonna man up and you're gonna be consistent. Not just once where you like in Harlem Nights when they shooting on them and he pop, stop shooting that gun quick. And he got that little pistol. Man, you better put that little pistol up. You better get this bazooka, which means you got to study then, and you got to go on this, and you got to make sure that you got this word ready and you tight. So when you present yourself, you just not presenting some little, oh yeah, I do this and I do that, or yeah, I want multiple women and all of that. You're gonna get sniffed out. You're gonna get sniffed out. It's one thing to know the mechanics of something, and it's another thing to know the science of something. The mechanics of something. That's what a lot of people would like to come in and they want to hide behind Chief. And oh yeah, well, if he said it, then you know what I'm saying, it must be cool. So that's what yeah, y'all women bow down to me. Yeah. Nah, bruh. Can you hold your own cashews? Can you back that up? It ain't just holding the word of somebody else. Do you know that inside and out? Do you know the science of what is said behind what he said, so that if he's not there, you're going to be able to now explain that? And if you can't explain that, then shut your mouth. Go for the ride and learn. And learn until you can get to your own legs up underneath you, because you're not supposed to stay up underneath somebody forever. There ain't no cuckolds around here. Stand up, hold your own, but then that means you're gonna have to come up underneath somebody for a little bit so that you can learn for a little bit. And then all of a sudden now you're gonna start to present yourself to the world so you can start to move and groove. And then start to even see again, like you said earlier, is just seeing the fraud and seeing the fake and seeing the phony and so many people. But it has to, that seed has to reside within you. And if that seed doesn't reside within you and you just talking out your mouth, this is not the experience for you. This is not. If you don't want to put in work, this is not the experience for you. If you're not about what you say you're about, this is not the experience for you. But if you're ready to boss up, if you're ready to snatch a spirit out of shirt, then this would be the experience for you. Come on in. We welcome you with open arms. Please enjoy this awkward silence.
That's a lot of truth.
Amen.
hey, nah, but honestly, I remember I was so gun ho when my first time I ever talked to Chief, right? So I don't know if I shared this before, but I will now, I guess. Uh, I was working on a job site, right? And I had talked to Chief while I was out of town, and I was like, "This is the first time I talked to him." I was like, "Yo, Chief, man, I'm done with this. I'm ready to get it down. I'm trying to build with y'all. Y'all got the thing going on." So I'm like, yo, I'm thinking in my mind, I'm thinking like, yo, I'm gonna just jump in hell. I'm gonna run with the brothers, and we just gonna get it cracking, like you know what I'm saying, guns and whips all over the place, right? And so I was like, I was so, how would I say? I was so gun ho to like, I said, yeah, man, I'm about to quit my job, and I did. Like the next day, like I think I talked about Thursday, that Friday, that was it. Like I ain't going back. There's some suckers over there. Like I ain't working for them people no more, right? And so I done quit my job, and I remember Chief said, "Well, you're young enough. You got time to make a mistake." He didn't like down what I said. He didn't like put no pressure on me to do anything else. He didn't agree with it. He didn't. Right. So I was just like, yo, because I had took that militant spirit, like, and that spirit of like, I'm just not gonna do this anymore. So you meet some people that they just go make uncalculated moves, and that was what I did. I made uncalculated moves. Not saying that I was any type of financial burden because I did that. I just like, yo, I'm not with it no more. And then maybe I want to say I started a new process a week or two later, like a week or two later. Matter of fact, he told me to reach out to you, right? So, so I started a week or two later, right? And then I think it is the first Sabat call we had, and the first thing he was like, "Yo," you know what I'm saying? He started breaking down like, man, when I worked at jobs, you know, I always work at the job with the intention of it funding my business or funding a venture that I'm going to be participating in. And me not coming up with that mindset of never, having a business, never wanting to, not say never wanting a business, but I never came from the mindset of like, manhood is surrounded by your entrepreneurial spirit. So then I looked at myself and like, dang, I lack of this thing because it is now being stated to me like, yo, we as men need to be, have that entrepreneurial spirit, or we need to be building something that can carry us on our financial burden so that we won't be under that oppressive spirit while we're at working in an environment that is hazardous to us. So I was like, dang. So guess what I'm doing a couple weeks later? Sending a message to my old boss, like, yo, like, yeah, I need you to put me on another job, right? Because now I understood, like, just to be a part of our new, like, we have to make calculated moves as men. Like, we're making calculated moves. Like, we're not just at jobs working them because we want to work them. There should be a goal for this job and this time and this space. Like, so everything has to become more calculated when you're moving to that new. You can't make uncalculated decisions because it is your weight that you're carrying, your burden, your cross, right? That you're carrying to this place, the space that you're supposed to get to. And so that with that, I had to realize, okay, cool. Well, I need to position myself better. I just can't make moves and thinking like, yo, I'm just gonna be good. I'm just gonna join this community, and this community is we like we're gonna do a barter system. It's like, yo, but what do you have? Like, what are you giving? Because at the end of the day, everyone is being built to be their own Jegna. So it seems like you itching, brother Zach. So I'm gonna let you slide on in there.
Man, what you just said is just it's a beautiful thing when you're fortunate enough to be around other men and other men that are going to push you, other men that are going to show you, nah, just what you said, even that entrepreneur spirit. There's one time, which I'm never going to forget. I had a consultation with Dr. Africa, right? Peace be upon. And he called me one time, and I don't know if anybody's ever had like a consultation with him, but like there's no set time when he calls you. He just calls you out the blue. So he calls me out the blue. I picked the phone up, and I missed a couple of his calls. And one time I'm like, man, you can't just be calling people randomly. Like, I'm at work. He said, I'm sorry. I don't want to get you in trouble with your master. Oh, that hit me in my soul, man. I was like, all right. I was mad, but I had to sit back and then just with you better have that entrepreneur spirit in you. Because I mean, one thing that you even start to, which Dr. Amos Wilson has spoke about this too, is what it means to be in this secular society, and then what it means to be as a man defined by your own community. Because the secular society, when the defined definition of a manhood would be ultimately the effemination of men, because you would have to come underneath somebody else, and it would be almost like a marriage where you are, as long as my master says it's good and all of this is good, then everything is okay, and I can try to work my way up into this world and all of that kind of stuff. What happens then now, just like if somebody was in a marriage, what happens when this person divorces you? Says, I no longer want to be in this relationship with you. Well, what do you start knocking on master's door? Hey, hold on, man. Now let's try to work this out. Where I'm gonna go? What I'm gonna do? Nah, man, it ain't none of that. You're gonna have to boss up. And if you talking about you the kingdom of your household, and especially when you listen to our sisters who was building the other day, and they're talking about submission, and they're talking about obedience, and they're talking about all of that, and then you're gonna go hiding behind some damn bushes and not hold your own nuts. Come on, man. Stop. You got too many eyes on you. You got too many people relying on you for you not to uphold the standard of what it means to be a man in our new. There's too many people counting on you. And if you, and it's like we said, you are only considered a man within the community because now we know how important it is before we turn you loose, that you ain't just gonna mess somebody over. If somebody hands himself over to you and they talking about, oh, this is my master and my master of the household, well, then you better hold it down like a master. Because if you can't, well, then you need to go back and do it again. And you need to go back and reread again. You need that religion in your life again, the religion of our new textbook, which just means to go back or reread and do it again. And it says this textbook should be read daily. Every day you just eating. Let me get some more of this because I need to be able to pour inside of my whole homestead. If this is my solar system and they're orbiting around my sun, then I got to make sure that I got the rays and the light in order to pour into them. Because now, if I don't have the light to pour into them, well, then now whose light are they reflecting? And that's just on you. So now, if you don't have that entrepreneur spirit, if you don't have that new spirit, well, then now I'm looking at you like, what you doing, man? What you doing? Get up here, G.
I just want to take 1 second to acknowledge all of those are in the chat that are giving us greetings. Shalom. I see Brother Antonio. Shalom to Chief. Shalom to Logan Scott. Shalom to Sister. I want to say I've seen it earlier. Sister Kashia. And yeah, I think that's it. Hopefully, I agree to everyone who greeted us. Yeah. But yeah. So another experience, right? So I remember you because you were so close in my coming into. I knew that manhood role or whatever, and I was hot headed and like I I would just say anything, right? So that was just that's the energy I was carrying at the moment. I was like, yo, what's going like up in here? Like, and then because I'm looking for something. Like I came in search of something. I came for looking for an experience. So, but what I end up experiencing was like, yo, there's a process that you're gonna get built up. You don't just come in here and think you're just gonna be all right. You in here now and you're just gonna get the movement, you're gonna get to work, and I'm like, yo, here's the hammer, and here's the nails, and this like, nah. I'm gonna teach you how to use a hammer. We're gonna show you what a nail is capable of doing. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna show you how we build boards and how we frame houses and how we build our foundation. And then from there you can go on and probably start doing your own thing. But until you get all of this ingested, so you can clearly represent a new it's like, yeah, you ain't doing nothing, player. Like just sit there, you good. Just trust me, it's coming. And then when it comes, you're like, dang, it's a whole bunch of information. It's a whole, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot to learn, and it's not like a lot, but it just takes diligence, takes discipline, and you have to take your time now. You're gonna have to take your time into now processing information, taking it into yourself, and because there's a certain requirement, there's not just you can be a part of something. This is not a uh I don't like saying it, but this is not a church, right? So you don't just the doors aren't open where you can come in and just sit down and just be in the back on the back row, right? And just you have no experience with any of the members, but you can just come in and get this word and dip out, right? Come get your little glory, your little get filled with the spirit, as they say, right? Get a touch of the Holy Ghost, right? And then you can just dip out, and then like there's no communication to that next, Sunday or whatever it is that they ritualize and how they ritualize. Nah, if you're allowed to come in, participation, being active, you're going to be appointed to positions that you're going to have to now be able to maintain that position. You're going to have to be ready. So when you're called to service, that you're available. Like, so your availability then now, because of the inner workings of the community, is like you're going to be responsible for something. And if you're an unresponsible person or irresponsible person, then you're not going to fit, because what's going to happen is when you're called to duty, you're going to make an excuse. And then after so many excuses, we're going to notice that you're a fraud. But that's who you are, because you came just to take. And that energy of taking is always, a lot of times people come in with, I'm not gonna say people come in with that. I'm just gonna say that people intentionally have their own desires, as I did, right? I had my own thing. I thought I could be able to come in and help how I want to help. But it's like, nah, it's gonna be a process to where you're gonna help in the way I knew needs you to function. Because right now maybe I knew needs this function. And then within that function, you can operate that. And so then you have to realize, like, don't think about your talents, because that's going to be immediately recognized. Think about only submitting to what you may be placed or where you may be positioned, because that's where we may need the service. And so like it's not always about what you want to give, it's what's needed to be given at the moment.
No, and I think what you just said, this is not a church. All sinners are not welcomed. Okay, like you gonna be accountable for what you do. You're gonna be accountable for what you say. This is even why it's a deterrent for many. Just, you mean there's an application that I have to sign up? I just can't walk in and get the good word and sit there and give some amens. Go ahead, you preach on with your bad self, and then go back to doing what I've been doing this entire time. No, no, that's not this experience right here. You're gonna work. You're gonna actually get your hands dirty. We're gonna see again if you about what you say you about. And I know some people like, oh, well, I'm just shy, or I like to sit back and I just like to listen. I'm an active listener, which majority of the time you just back there judging everybody, but you're not making yourself be seen because you don't want nobody to say nothing to you. Keep playing. It's just the game. And just what you said, some people, yeah, they come in and they do nothing but take, or whatever the case may be. But when we talk about what we're actually building here, and people try, oh, I want to leave Babylon and all of that, you first have to leave it within your mind. I think you alluded to that earlier, with just was saying, you got to learn what this hammer's about. You got to learn what this community is about. You got to learn, hold up. Just because if you move from one land to another land, if your mentality is still the same from the land that you just left, you ain't gonna do nothing but stank the new spot up and make it smell just like the spot that you just left from. So this, what you kind of was talking about too, which is just making sure that now you flush all of that garbage that's been in you. And there's so many times that you see people at a retreat, or people, this is just such a wonderful experience. Their body is at that retreat. Their body is sitting there listening to that video, but their head is in the toilet and being flushed at the same time. Or I think what she said one time, you got the body of Venus and Serena Williams, but you got a rat head sitting on top of you, right? And you got whiskers coming out the side, and you're like, hold on, man, somebody who's removed their chip is pointing it out, and he will, hold on, you can't talk to me like that. You can't say that. You can't, hold on, you don't know what I'm about this life. No. Slow down. Listen. Soak up what is going on so you can flush the garbage out. Oh, that's why you just listen to your spirit. Listen to my intuition. Oh, the universe gonna tell me what to do. You said, yeah, you keep listening to that. You keep using that tomfoolery if you want to. Talking about, oh, my gut is my God. How you know your gut from the feces and the SHI, sugar honey iced tea that's in there? That all of a sudden now you just go from gut to mouth without going from gut to brain to mouth first. Think about what you're saying And if your mind hasn't been renewed and hasn't been really flushed out, so you got to actually take on this information, well, then now you got to ask yourself, who ultimately is leading your thoughts? Who's governing what you're saying and what you're doing? I know it's real easy to say, I do it my, you got it from somewhere. You got it from somewhere. Now it's just a matter of, can you actually listen and let it flush you out and build with all those who are around you?
That's yeah, brother. And I I totally agree because like and I always I'm reflecting on my experience because I remember like there's a humbling period too. So there's a place where you get where you have to realize like whatever your intentions were, there just get rid of them. Like just just let it go. Whatever you like. So when I came into, I knew like you had it. Like most of us have an intention. Let it go. Like it makes the transition so much easier because what happens is we're fighting to fulfill the intention that was set, right? But what you don't realize is you're not gonna be moved by a different energy. That like that energy is not gonna allow you to try and fulfill what you want to fulfill in this space. So you may think that your intention. So for like some people may join for whatever reason, right? I just was I was in search of just that warrior community, right? As I would say that, like, because I had never been inside of a community. I had been a part of associations, which is different because we all go home. And there's no dependency, and there's no higher calling. That means you just come in and do your little whatever you're doing, and you're associated with something. But when you're actually a part of something, like you realize, like your intentions have to just to be diminished, and then whatever it is that what we need is that's what a lot of times you end up fulfilling that service. And so like coming into I knew the experience has been a collective rebranding of myself as well, because I think matter of fact Chief even spoke to this I want to say 2 days ago. He did live and he spoke to this. It's like you have to think of I knew like more so as a brand, like because you get branded, right? Like you get branded with that new. That's not just it's not just a badge like you just pull off like police officer and just you put it on the shelf. It's a brand, and that brand is in you. It's like and it's in your heart. It's in your body. It's in your blood, right? Because essentially we're a bloodline. So that brand, can you if you're reading this information and it's like, yo, these are some hard requirements. Yeah, it was supposed to be like that, right? Because there essentially becomes a brand. And when you start understanding that you're a brand or you're whatever you say is now is because what we say you gotta realize is being people are gonna look at you to be authenticated by what it is that you claim it. So if you're say if I'm out here saying I'm new and I'm talking crazy to people, and when people are like, "Yo, ain't you part of my new? Is that what y'all about? That's how y'all move." Like it's like nah, but you're trying because what happens is people want to separate themselves from what they're claiming. Like yeah, we don't do that in our new. But if you're a new, then you essentially whatever you come out your mouth, there's a certain level of responsibility. Even in our new way, and we went over this where it speaks about if a new man is to take in a non Anu woman, he becomes then responsible for what she say and what she do as well. It's under the union. It's under the union chapter in the Anu way. It, it's almost kind of the same spirit because if you're associated or you're branded by Anu, then what comes out of your mouth you have to understand you now responsible for what it is your not just your image but the energy you putting out to the world because you're claiming I knew. So if you out here flipping tricks when we what I'm saying flipping tricks and then but you want to claim I knew, it's like because we gonna be like oh, hold on, we don't endorse that right there, right? And so there's a lot of things like so I had to learn like even when I talk to people like I really had to reassess it like dang, is that the spirit of I knew, or that's just my selfish desire to say that or to that person like that? Or so now it's like, dang, is that the spirit that I'm being called to hold? Even when it comes to like participation in certain activities and events and certain things, and even like when my coworkers be asking me to go out and do certain things, it's like that ain't I knew though, so I'm gonna have to turn it down. Like I don't tell them that, but essentially they be like, yo, he on some other stuff. He won't be on all that. And then if they, the conversation arises, like, yo, man, I'm part of new. We're not about that. I'm not about it because essentially that's a waste of time and I can be doing something else with it. And so that's what one of my experiences too is like you have to understand that the brand it is that you're representing.
Well, it's what you said. Let me go from the beginning too. I just want to touch on that. You said even when you come in, you got to be humble, and I think what people just should take a look at is, when somebody's like, oh, well, they come in with these great aspirations of, thinking that somebody needs to humble themselves and them because of what they have done. We're going to look at the humility, which is what are you admitting in this now moment? And that humility is connected to that humbleness. You're going to have to get low. You don't come in and, I'm coming to bring my great talents to build anew in this kingdom. And then you already shot yourself in the foot. Like you already shot yourself in the foot. You come in to learn. You come in to flush yourself out. To get up, you first got to get down. Like, hold on, let me get some humility so that I can actually learn and see what's going on, so I can learn the culture, so I can learn this our new way, so I can learn what everybody else is doing, so I can get in alignment with what everybody else is doing, not as opposed to, well, let me tell you what I'm about. Well, I'm the type of person, nobody cares what type of person you are. You see, I'm about to stop, don't need it. Chief always, don't need it. Like, pull back for 2 seconds. And then you can start to see the culture of what we're starting to do around here. And I think it's just important for people to know that this is what you said is a bloodline. And when it's moving and really pumping through your blood, and you really are standing erect on the edicts of Anu, you become an irritant to people. So when you're around them and they be like, I'm gonna speak for me. When they be like, Zach, you need to relax. Zach, you need to do this. Zach, I don't give a rat's baby about it. Okay, because this is what I do. This is, like I said, there's too many people that look to us, that rely on us. They're talking about you gonna be the master of the homestead for me to put that sword down. It's not happening. So if somebody starts talking about some stupid stuff, like, oh yeah, you already know not to ask me nothing stupid like that. You already know we ain't gonna get down like that. Because yeah, you don't want to hear my lecture. Good. Well, I don't want to hear. And that's not like I'm gonna go into your world. Y'all should be wearing shoes, and y'all need these vaccines, and I'm not doing all of that. But you gonna know what I'm about when I move and I traverse through this world. You're gonna see it. And it's something that, and especially if somebody has to keep talking about, well, this is what I'm about, this is what I do. And you already, you're looking at, hold on, you're doing too much talking and not enough living. Well, I like that hashtag be. You got to be Anu. Be Anu, like day in and day out. This is where I stay. I'm not just here visiting. I'm not here getting my little gift bag where I'm, let me see what y'all doing. I'm going to put that in my bag. That looks really nice. I'm going to go off and teach it. Well, then come on in. Let's see what whoa, no. I got to pick up the kids. I got to go make dinner. I got to do all these excuses start coming out until you tell them, now come in and let's see you put that work in. Oh no, I got my little goodie bag. I'm good. Thank you though. This was a great experience. I'm out. Nah. If you about that life, if you about that new life, well then you're gonna come in and get this work. You're gonna come in and get this action, and then it'll start to resonate. It'll start to just seep out your pores. Well, people are like, is this something different about this person? I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. Whatever the case may be, but then you start to see it's a difference between somebody who says that they're called, C-A-L-L, and then somebody who has a call, C-A-U-L. And when you are called, or you're the chosen ones by the Creator, you stop caring about all of this garbage of, oh, well, this person doesn't like me, or this person said this person, I don't care because the Creator has called me. So if the Creator is before me, who the F can be against me? I don't care. But you got to get it in your blood, man, and you start moving around with other men, and it's a whole different experience.
Yeah, and for me, being around that standard of men, being around that standard of community, period. There's a level of honesty that one grows into, to where it's like this is not a space where you come and try and hold on to anything. Because it's a space like people say, oh, this is a safe space. Like, but yeah, we're really a safe space in the sense that there's nothing to hold on to. We understand that people coming from the outworld, the outer side world, the outworld. Like you coming from the west, I'm coming from the west. Like I still got stuff I gotta like, we under like yo, nobody's here to like knock you over your head because we already know like you messed up. Like we already that's a inherit. You're gonna inherit that for coming from the culture or coming from the insanity. I won't even give it respect, call it a culture. From coming from the outside of insanity, it's expected for you to be messed up. You know what I'm saying? It's so a lot of people they I mean, even I like there's certain things that you deal with that you don't really never say. You don't really say anything, but it's like, yo, we know you messed up. It's like, are you gonna be honest with yourself so you can get the proper help? Are you gonna be honest with the people around you so that you're not in here being a fraud yourself? So being honest is gonna help the person because now the community knows how to best help you, right? So being honest is really I think was one of like the foundation of the requirement so that you can be put in harmony. Because a lot of times we come in and then we hold on to things and we try and chip and a little bit here, a little bit there. Like yo, get it out. If you get it out, trust me, nobody's gonna be like, oh my god, like we never heard it. Now I'm pretty sure we've heard it all at this point. Like there's nothing no one has experienced in life that someone in I knew hasn't had a direct experience with. So your experience is just gonna be like someone's gonna be able to relate to you, and then they're gonna have a story where they come from and how they came up too. So all it is gonna do is that honesty and that level of being open. It's not always easy. Even for us, especially for us men, it's not always easy for us to be open. But that's why we have the I new man. That's why we have the I new womb because there are some things that at times you may need to keep within the brotherhood. There are some things that you may need to keep within the I new womb. But that's what it's there for. It's there for the brothers to be brothers with each other, and for the sisters and the ears to be there for each other. Right? That's why it's there. And then as a collective, when we come together, there's never nothing that you've experienced that you should be trying to hide because the help is there. And so once like as I even me like as you get more comfortable you start to be able to like yo and then that's the feeling of understanding like I'm not being judged in a sense that it's going to be held against me. You're going to be judged, so we're going to like that's a fact. But no one's going to hold this against you as long as you're striving to get out of the quote unquote get out of the dunya, right? As you striving and you're taking the proper steps to get out of the dunya, it's gonna be okay. But if you're sitting there and you want to rest and sit in your own, like you said, sugar on the iced tea, then that's not okay because that's not what we're about. We're about moving and ascending up out of that space. So that's why when we can help pull you up. That when you're honest, you can be helped pulled up. The chain can be extended to you. You know what I'm saying? But you got to get up out of it yourself, and that's the first requirement to get up out of it is you got to be honest. You got to be open. You got to be ready. To expose yourself. It doesn't always feel good, but the end result is you don't have that on your chest. You let it go into the community, and the community will figure out how we can help you serve you because even though you're going to be of service to the community, it is also the community service to one another.
And I'm glad you just said that because I want to highlight that is when you said, you got to get up out of it yourself, which I want to make sure we build on that because some people can take that out of context where they be like, oh, yeah, this is why, I just listen to myself or I'm going to do it myself. If you could have done it yourself, you would have done it already. You can't do it by yourself. This is why you have a community that's going to hold you to a standard and that they're going to call you out on some of that BS that you're doing. So you can't just go tuck your tail between your legs and hide behind the corner. Like, nah, this is what you're doing. Now, you can either take the medicine and you can say, you know what, let me relax and let me shut my mouth and just say, okay, you know what, I need to do better. Or that Willie Lynch chip is going to activate in you and you're going to say, I can't trust this black man. This dude, I know he doesn't know anything. I know he wants to hurt me. He just is mad because he ain't good. He ain't where he wants to be. So now he just want to come. I know he don't see something that I see. He can't have a higher position or a higher viewpoint than I have. Something happened. And matter of fact, and then all of a sudden you get the hyena, the peanut gallery, and then they get together. Oh yeah, get him, girl. Let's go. Slow down. slow down. When you come into this community, you're going to be held to a standard. You are going to be judged. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to either meet the challenge and say, you know what, let me do better so I can actually now get into my proper position so I can receive the seed from the creator, or you're going to go back to your, that what you said, leaving up, you go back to your cultural insanity. There's a lot of worldly kingdoms that you can find yourself in. This one just might not be for you, because we're going to make sure that we're going to hold up. I'm not going to hold you to a standard I wouldn't hold myself to. You know, that's what you said. I'm not going to, I can't go out and live one way, but then come over here and talk and do all of this other stuff to everybody else, but me not being able to back up what I'm saying with my own action. If I'm holding myself to a standard, you're going to get held to that same standard. And this is why we have a community. And then once you start to, okay, then you start to remove piece, but you start chipping away, like you said earlier, of that cultural insanity that has been poured into all of us on a day in and day out basis. And some people think that you just gonna get it from an hour lecture that Chief did, or 25, and you've been in a school system since you were 3-4 years old, all the way up until some people were 25. Some people are career students, and they just pouring that cultural insanity inside of you, pouring it inside of you. And you think you're just gonna get rid of it with a couple videos? No, you're gonna have to come in and you're gonna have to just keep being called to the mat. This is what happened. Oh, okay. You know what? Let me boss up. Let me do better. I know I can get this right. Or if it's in you, what they say, pressure is either gonna make a diamond or it's gonna bust a pipe. You're gonna pick one or the other. But if you allow this information and you allow your community to lean on you, and it's not all, let me make sure that I put this out there. It's not all just busting you over the head. There's community, we're gonna give you some love, we're gonna give you some support, but you're gonna get that work. You're gonna get that work. And that's
That's
just
a
how it
fact.
goes.
That's a fact. And I just want to acknowledge something that I saw uh the other night when we was doing the live, the Shima call. That I thought was like just beautiful in itself. When I saw the sisters responding in the chat, it was like this is what this is about. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like mentally they was holding their own, like verbally they was holding their own, like, and it's like, dang, then you get to witness that experience of not only are the men required to come to a certain acumen, the sisters are also required to come to a certain acumen. And when like women, like the women, they don't have to directly deal with, what we're doing, because we're like essentially we're the man. The sisters are also building too. So because most people would think, okay, they always see the men like, nah, them sisters is on point, son. I promise you that, right? I promise you this information, they got it. Because a lot of times that spirit of laziness happens where you see women come into these movements and they just want to be president. When like, yo, but you want to study too. The men ain't the only ones studying. Like the sisters are studying. And when they showed that the other night, I was like, yo, when there was a question and they like, yo, this is how we get down. Like they basically gave her the answers, and that was like, oh man, look at that. Like I was like, yeah, get him. I was like, get him. Right. And that's why I didn't even say nothing about the question, because I'm like, yo, that's how it goes down. Right. They was on it. As soon as it came up, they was on it. And I was like, yo, that's the beauty when you know that it is operating. I knew it's operating, and we're operating in a new way at all times, which is the goal we strive for, to be operating in that arena at all times. Like when you're thinking about it, say, what would I new do? So like people say that JD whatever back in the day, they should always be running that on. It's like, nah, you know what I'm saying? We don't rock like that. But what would I new do? And when you think I knew, you be like, well, that's a community, but it's a spirit too, right? So it's the spirit of I knew that is always ever present in your consciousness. So that's why when we are reading the I knew way daily, that it changes you, and because it's become a living being inside of you, and that I knew spirit, that heavenly spirit becomes in you, and so now the way you interact, the way you do things, it just pours out of you. And I want to share one last experience before we end this, and that experience is the spirit of structure. I mean the experience of structure. The structure is, and I think is something that I never experienced before outside of being in the military. Um, the way the chain of command is set, and like with the chain of command, you think, oh yeah, they in there, they just trying to be militant, but it's no, it's a chain of command that allows one to be able to respect each other. And we say because within I knew there are certain titles that people hold, and so there's a respect way to get to that. Because some people like to just blast chief inbox or blast this or blast to the person you think that. Nah, slow down. There's other brothers that's building that. You can go to them to get the answers. You don't have to go try and shoot straight to the top. And what he give you might not like anyway. So you might be crawling back to us. You know what I'm saying? You might not be walking back. You know what I'm saying? You might be crawling back because your feelings hurt now, right? And so that order, that chain of command that's within our new, it also builds your confidence within the brothers because when okay, I just ain't got I can get things fulfilled without having to try and always shoot up to the ladder to the top. I can like come to Brother Zach, I can go to Baba Mari, or I can go to Brother Chris because they hold they're building too, so they're filled with this the spirit too, they're filled with the knowledge too. So if there's a question at hand, you can shoot, run off to your brother. You ain't gotta try and get every answer filled by shooting to the top, because a lot of time you just might not be the same. Like, yo, that's not what I want to hear. Dang. Like I got nah. Oh, you might get completely ignored. So honoring the chain of command is one thing too, that what the experience you come in, you also have to understand that too. There's a chain of command, and that experience of the chain of command helps build the dependency upon one another, because you know that we're all are respected by the way we ingest this information, and also the way we stand and the way we move, because we know that there's certain brothers that are qualified to teach or be able to help you in those positions. And it's like everyone, I feel like as the men, we all like got this little part of chief that we're good at, this thing that Chief does that we're all essentially good at, like within the men's, and then we can tap into that energy through one another as a brothers, and then there's no need to be trying to just when a person's chiefing, they don't have always the time to try and come down, and but that's what the brothers are here for. That's what we're here for, and that's what the sisters are there for, because that experience of just having that command, that chain of command, we know that if it has to go up that high, then it's something serious. But a lot of times, we as people, we want to inflate everything. Oh yeah, oh yeah, I almost died. You know what I'm saying? The spirit was on me. Like, yo, you shouldn't have been watching porn. That's all that was. Like, how you heard about. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it wasn't that big of a deal. And you talk about that spirit on me, like, yo, did you cut the laptop off? Like,
is that baby oil on you?
Right? So, because people have that need or that want for the attention, and a lot of times that attention comes from the lack of study. Like always, even me, like I have to get better at studying. So you always are looking for the answer to come from someone, and it doesn't always have to go to the top. Like you also always have people surrounding you in the community too that can help you a lot of times, and that's the structure of Anu, and I just really appreciate that. Anything else you would like to share, brother Zach?
Yeah, kind of like what you said, man. If this was you as a boxer, you don't go fight Mike Tyson. That doesn't happen, because if you did, you probably get dropped. Right? You don't get. You got to work your way. You don't get pay-per-view fights at the beginning of your career. You work your way up. But this is why you have a community, because everybody is learning. So there's questions that people should be able to answer at every different levels. We all are students. We're just all on different paths. I mean, and some are further along than others. Now, just because you got a situation, that doesn't mean that has to become someone else's emergency. There's already the edicts in place and there's protocols in place. This is what we do and this is what we don't do. If you step out of that umbrella, then Jackal's just gonna tear your ass up. That's just how that works. That doesn't mean that you gotta pull somebody else into your mess because you wasn't following or listening to what was already been said or what's already in front of you. But again, we just have a community, and that community perspective where everybody leans on one another. You just don't go straight to the top, like you said. You ask somebody else, man, what is this? Am I seeing it like this? What am I doing it? Now, you know what? I don't know. Let me go ask Brother Mark. You know what? I don't know. Let me go ask Brother Isaiah. I don't know. You know what? And we can't come. If I can figure it out, now we'll take it up. You know what? This is what we're working with. I don't know if we came to a decision yet or a conclusion. What is it? Oh, okay, that's what it is. Yep. And then be like, and then that's when you want to say, yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say, man. I don't know why they don't want to listen. Nonetheless, it's all good. But I mean, that's just the beauty of having a community, the beauty of relying on one, and the beauty of everybody just putting in work, man. So if you hear nothing else, just know you come into work, and you can't sit back and relax. You will be called to the mat, and somebody will meet you in that A gap.
And for those who don't know what the A gap is, explain to them, brother Zach.
Well, in football, you see, sometimes on that goal line, they try to run that power. And that's just a run play right down the middle. And there's a linebacker, and there's a fullback and a running back. And if you come talking that BS and all of that garbage, that linebacker gonna beat you in that A gap. You ain't scoring no touchdown, all right? So you ain't getting off that BS that you think you gonna get off, because you gonna get met in that A gap. That's what's gonna happen.
Oh man, this is beautiful, beautiful. Man, I give thanks for all of those watching. And currently I knew we registration to be a member of our new is open right now. And again, I think it ends on the 31st. Am I correct, brother Zach?
Correct.
All right, cool, cool. So yes, it ends. So if you all can go over to inew.lifeglobalministries.org and you can sign up and register to become a member of our new. Um, and with that, I just give thanks for the community. I give thanks for Chief Yuya and his Hareem for making this all possible for us to be here. And yeah, I'll see you all later. And hopefully I see some of you all watching. Shalom.